All right, there we are. We've got it up, we've got it live, we've got it running. Hey guys, I'm Brian Meert, CEO of Advertisement, a company, we're an agency that just specializes in Facebook and Instagram advertising, and soon to be Snapchat as well. So today we're going to go through a couple of important updates that's come out in the world of Facebook and also Snapchat. The first one is over this last week, AdExpresso, our friends over at AdExpresso, which has an amazing software that lets you be able to manage your campaigns that you're running, released a benchmark report in terms of some basic level or numbers in regards to Facebook advertising and what to be able to expect. If you guys haven't seen this, you can go to AdExpresso, look for their blog, and then look down for the benchmark report and you'll be able to see what showed up. But lucky for you, I printed out some of the graphs and want to be able to talk about a couple of things that have come out so far. So the first one was cost per click by country. And so if you get to the page, it'll look something like this. But what's interesting is across the world, globally, cost per click with Facebook is coming in at about 35 cents. Cost per click, it's much more expensive in places like Japan, Australia, Norway, Switzerland. The United States came in around 26 cents per click on average across all the campaigns that they're managing. And then some of the places with the lowest cost per click were Greece, Ireland, Malaysia, and South Africa. It was around 17 to 18 cents per click. The real important thing to know after looking at something like this is a lot of times if you have a product that can be sold internationally, it's important to be able to test those different countries and locations that you have the ability to sell to. If you only sell in a specific location, say the United States, then keep it limited to that. But if you have an electronics book or something that can be translated or that can't even be shipped to other locations, that's a fantastic option for you to be able to a lot of times get results at lower price while you're able to expand your sales and go from there. So that was the first one. The next one up was CPC Buy Placement. So I'll hold it up really quick so you guys can see it. What was interesting from this one is Instagram, hands down, more expensive and almost double what all the other placements are. It was coming in at anywhere around 60 to 70 cents. But in their report, they showed that Instagram used to be a little bit less, and then it slowly started to increase, and they've charged to where now they're charging more or a premium on Instagram placement. So just know that as you're running Instagram ads, if the price is double versus what it is with Facebook, that's something you need to take into account when you're looking at getting your cost per action or users to complete your desired behavior or whatever it is you want them to do. The other thing I thought was interesting, Audience Network is the lowest of all of these, coming in at anywhere between 4 to 6 cents per click across the Audience Network. Again, great that you can get clicks very inexpensively. On the flip side, you have almost no control or very limited control in terms of where your ads are shown outside of that. If you guys don't know, Audience Network is Facebook's partnership where they allow other apps and now other websites to be able to display Facebook ads outside of Facebook or Instagram. So I would expect that to grow, and I imagine that's why they're offering a lower cost per click, is because they're looking to expand that. And then what happens is when you pay to go onto the Audience Network, they split the revenue with whoever is the publisher or the app owner. So that's kind of how that works. Mobile newsfeed was less expensive than desktop newsfeed, and right column came in kind of in between both of those in terms of what looks like about 25 cents per click. So super interesting, worth taking a look at, reading it. Other things I thought were great, CPC by age range. So that's the bottom one right here, if you guys can see that. But yeah, a couple things. 13 to 17-year-olds are the lowest cost per click range, meaning it's anywhere between what looks like 5 to 10 cents to be able to reach those people. Again, that's probably a segment that a lot of people aren't going after, a younger demo, but if you have a product or service that's going after that age range, it should be theoretically much less expensive. And from there, it kind of scales up. 18 to 24 is kind of in the 10 to 15 cent range. 25 to 34 goes in the 15 to 20% range. 35 to 44 goes from 20 to 25. So it incrementally kind of increases about 5 cents across the board, and then levels off around 45 to 54 and stays consistent all the way up to the 64 plus range. But yeah, again, if you want to learn more about it, check it out on AdExpresso's site. And then the last one I wanted to show you guys today was CPC Buy Campaign Objective, which is this one right there. But what was interesting is, they're showing here, and they said the average was around 40 cents based on objectives that they tested. Reach came in at almost $1 per click. So when you do a reach objective, Facebook is very efficient at showing it to a lot of people, but a lot of times that can have an effect on the actual actions or what you want people to have complete. And this is what we've seen with a lot of reach campaigns that we've done. We get lots of impressions, a large audience size, but on the flip side, a lot of times the cost per click or the actual people taking the actions is much lower. So just be aware of that. Some of the lowest ones, it went reach, then it went lead generation, then video views, and down all the way down. Link clicks came in at around 12 cents. So, you can see the huge difference there in terms of ad objectives, which is, if you're going after reach, you may be paying $1 plus per click, but if you go after link clicks, where Facebook is optimizing the ads to be shown to people that are most likely to click on the ads, it's down to 12 cents. So again, it just it gives proof to Facebook's optimization of the system and how they really focus around doing what is the objective that you set to them for them to be able to do. And then lastly, the two lowest ones were post engagement and page engagement, both around 3 and 4 cents. So if you've ever run, sponsored posts, the reason I think it's so cheap is because it's what Facebook does naturally very, very well. They're very good at having content on the site. A person never leaves Facebook. They're right there. They're engaging. And so it's another reason why the cost per click is much less. All right, next up. This is a big topic that a lot of people have been discussing and kind of wondering, what's going to happen is the Instagram versus Snapchat. Kind of, what's going to happen? Is Snapchat going to be huge? Is Instagram going to crush Snapchat? And so I came across a graph that I found on Business Insider that was showing recently the growth of what is Snapchat, which is right here. Going up in terms of daily active users, and then what is Instagram Stories, which is right here, which only launched about 6 months ago. But you can see now that Instagram Stories has already, in a couple of months, surpassed Snapchat's growth or their active daily user base. So this is, again, a big thing, a big sign that Instagram, with the features that they've taken from Snapchat, is very effective, and the users are flocking to Instagram to be able to keep using it. They actually announced that they had 100 million new users in the last 4 months. Instagram did, that they gained 100 million users. Snapchat has like 150 million total. So, you can see that they are massively, making these big jumps and increments, and users are comfortable with Instagram, familiar with Instagram. I think all their friends or their social network is on Instagram, probably a little bit more than Snapchat. There's some value from that, but this isn't by any means to be like Snapchat is done. It just means they've got some big hurdles in front of them, and in fact that kind of takes us to our last segment, which is Snapchat recently announced that they announced a snap to store feature. And so basically what happens is advertisers have the ability to use geofilters, and when a person comes to a site and they use, they put an overlay over the image, if they share that story to their friends, Snapchat can track if their friends that saw it ever come back to that location. being like, I went to go to that location because I saw it somewhere on Snapchat. So again, this is actually a great feature when I heard this was being launched. A little bit creepy in the fact that as you say something, they're now tracking all your friends, and if they're doing it, which means they're tracking them all the time. So, again, I think advertisers and consumers will kind of come to accept that at some point. Is just, hey, it just happens. But that's technically what's happening. But the upside there is, as an advertiser, you can be able to, track the exact results, which is, I want a person to walk into my location. And again, if Snapchat can get this done right, there's a huge retail presence across the United States or worldwide of companies that would value the ability to be able to drive live traffic or traffic into a retail location. So again, a great option for Snapchat, and this is just now launching, so that'll be something good for you guys to watch. Okay, I wanted to do a couple of questions that came through from our last time. If you guys have any questions or something that you want answered or you're not sure about, feel free to drop it in the comments below. Like, share, leave those little hearts and emojis or things like that. But here we go. I'll take a couple of these questions and then you guys can ask any if you want to. Number one, what's the difference between clicks all and link clicks? Okay, this is a great question. Traditionally, Facebook, when they first started reporting with their system, they would show you the clicks. It would just say clicks. And what they did was they counted anything that happens inside of the ad unit. So this option is now clicks all. And so what that means is if someone clicks like, if someone clicks the fan page to go view it, if someone clicks the image, that would count as 3 clicks. If someone clicks comment, it would count as a click. If they type their comment, and I imagine if they hit send or post, that would count as another click as well. So anything that's happening associated with the ad unit, every time someone is clicking, that's counting as a click for Facebook. So what that means is a lot of times they show this number by default. And so you can get a number, be like, hey, I'm only paying 5 cent cost per click. Oh, that's awesome. But that may not necessarily be your true cost per click. That's in regards to all the activity on Facebook. Link clicks is where you have the ability to view actually the number of people that click the link going to your website. And that a lot of times will give you the true cost per click. It'll match up with your Google Analytics or anything else that you're running to be able to see exactly how much is it that, how many people am I sending from my Facebook ad to my website, and then run your numbers from there. But it's a great question. Let's see what else we've got. Why are my ads receiving no impressions? So this is a great question that has to do with deliverability. And why is Facebook showing my ad? Why are they not showing my ad? What happens? And a lot of times, most people that have advertised on Facebook at some level have found something that they did where they uploaded something or created a new ad and it just wouldn't run at all. So what I've come across is there's a couple of reasons why Facebook will show an ad. Number one is the ability that they think number one is money. How much are you bidding to show your ad to different people? So that's very important. The higher you bid, the more Facebook is going to show your ad. They're saying, hey, we get more money for doing this, similar to bidding on something on eBay. The person who's selling it gets excited when someone says, I'll give you more money for it. Same thing with Facebook. The more money you're putting on the table, the more likely that they're going to show your ad. So if step one, if you're having low deliverability or your ads aren't showing, you may want to try increasing the price, or increasing your bid, or increasing your budget. And a lot of times that will kickstart the ads. Another thing I recommend to a lot of people is doing auto bid, or leaving on auto bid to start with, because Facebook's going to kind of look at the landscape and they're going to start charging you what it would cost to be able to get your ad up and running. So that's another thing that I would recommend. The other two things that Facebook looks for is the likelihood that people will complete the action. So, whatever you're requesting, whatever your objective is, are there a lot of people on Facebook in the audience that you've selected or the targeting that you selected that will complete this action. So what this means is if I'm going after a lookalike and it's got 2 million people in there, and I say, hey, I want people to click to my website, Facebook's gonna look in there and say, hey, yeah, out of these 2 million, we have 1.5 million that are clicking to other websites. This is great. Okay, we'll run this ad. If I have a targeted segment of, say, 1,500 people, and I'm saying I want people that are converting a lot, that may be a very small size. So Facebook's gonna look at that and say, there's not a lot of people that we think can complete this action. So that can affect your deliverability. In that case, what you would wanna do is probably expand your audience or bid super, super high to be able to make sure that your ads are running. So that's something else. And then the last one is the relevance. In terms of, is the ad relevant? So Facebook definitely rewards ads that have higher relevance scores, that are more engaging or active or valuable to the people who are seeing them. So to improve your relevance score, it's all about targeting correctly, and then having ads that are fun or engaging or conversational, or not necessarily just a billboard that someone drives by. You want to have ads that are creative and you think differently. Think of a conversation, more conversation, less billboard, is what we try to focus on here. So that's another thing that you can do to look at why your ads aren't running or why you have low deliverability. Okay, cool. Last question I got here from last one is it bad if my audiences overlap? This is, again, another great question. Yes and no. Generally, theoretically, if you're running ads towards audiences that may have some overlap, you are technically bidding against yourself. So there is the ability that you could be able to bid. I mean, if you were bidding from 2 accounts onto an item on eBay, would you generally do that? There might be scenarios that you would, but generally I would think you wouldn't want to bid yourself or outbid yourself, because you're just paying against yourself to be able to get your ad shown. So that's one thought process. The other one is that there's a lot of value in having overlap, especially when it comes to things like your funnel, like people that have initiated checkout, added to cart, purchase. That it's okay to leave a little bit, and that's acceptable, to be able to allow overlap and to ensure that different groups of people are seeing the ad different times. There's also been times where we've tried techniques of simply duplicating the exact same ad set and running them head to head. Usually what happens is one will get the majority, but a lot of times we can reach other people with that secondary group with maybe a lower bid, or a higher bid but a smaller budget. So those are all things that you can tinker with and try to play in terms of when you're running your Facebook ads. And then let me see, there's a couple other questions that came through. Let me see if I can answer them really quick. Do you recommend doing like campaigns? In the right scenario, yes. My grumpiness with like campaigns is likes are still somewhat useless, or 95% useless is what I would say. If you have 1 million likes, it doesn't mean those people are going to see anything that you do, and you still have to pay to reach those people with a boosted post. There is value organically once you can kind of get that snowball going. So, a lot of people want to have that number of, I've got 100,000 fans on my page. It's very much a vanity number. If you've got a full-blown social media team that's in there doing things and you're putting money behind everything that they post, then it can be a valuable campaign to run. We've seen several clients that we've worked with do very, very well with like campaigns or things that are in relation to a specific event in time or something to where there's already a lot of momentum maybe behind that movement, just either through the news or current events or things like that. So if your fan page relates to some of those, that's great. There are companies that are managed or measured by metrics of fan page likes and growth. If that's something that you have to report on or that you're being measured by, it's very valuable to be able to put money behind that to ensure that it's continually growing. I wouldn't necessarily put all of my budget behind it, but it's something that a lot of times can be a percentage of your spend and put into that. So I think that's it. If there's any other questions that came through, thank you guys so much for attending. Here, one last one before we go. Is it worth it to advertise on Snapchat? So up till recently, Snapchat had a minimum buy-in of $50,000, which meant you couldn't even talk to them unless you said, hey, I'm willing to spend $50,000 with you. And I think that cut out a lot of the smaller advertisers, the retail stores, mom and pops, people that are looking for stuff, whereas Facebook, you can start with any budget you want. So, they went there. Snapchat was focusing their resources and their time towards the larger clients, the bigger studios, the bigger ad agencies, the bigger brands, which is, again, a great strategy for them. So up till now, it's been a little more difficult. And then there are some results out there that show Snapchat users are less likely to click an ad, or they don't click as much. They also don't spend as much time watching the videos on Snapchat as they would maybe on Instagram. So those are a couple things that as you're putting money out there, we always look at is where are we getting the best results. But Snapchat does have a very loyal, a very active user base, and a younger demo. So if those are the people that you're looking to reach, Snapchat is an option for you. And I would expect over the next 6 months, they'll start to roll out their self-service platform, which will be very similar to Facebook's, so that you can be able to upload and manage your own ads directly on Snapchat. So that's it for today. Great questions. I want to thank you guys for attending. And we'll see you guys next week.